Ever since I can remember, I've collected things. I've collected baseball cards, I've collected football cards, I've collected Pokemon cards, I've collected video games, I've collected all kinds of things. I can even remember whenever I was in middle school and high school, I would even go out and buy Beckett magazines where I could look up and see how much a card that I had was worth. I want to know just how valuable that card was. I can remember in high school whenever Pokemon cards really started coming out, and they had the Charizard card. It was worth $100, and that was the big, we got to have one of those. And so, as I've gotten older, there's lots of other things I've collected. I've collected books. I have lots of books. I have fishing lures. There's all kinds of things that I've collected, that I have spent time and effort and energy going about and collecting things. So I can look back on them, and some of those I've passed along. And so when we look at our lives, I must ask a question. What do you build your life on? What is it that you're trying to collect or to gain in this life? When you turn to the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus addresses a very similar idea, this idea that we're going to lay up a treasure. We're going to search for things, and we're going to spend our time, effort, and energy in gaining something, or to give our time, effort, and energy in doing something. And so when we're looking here in Matthew chapter 6, I'm going to start looking at in verse 19, he makes a comparison. He makes a comparison between spiritual things and carnal things, or spiritual things and things of this world. And so when we're looking here, Jesus says this: "Do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy and where thieves break in and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroys, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." When we start thinking about our lives, the most important thing to us ought to be our soul and where we're going to spend our eternal destiny. That should be something that we think about often. That we consider the goodness, the love, and the mercy of God, and trying to live on this earth for eternity. And it's very easy. It's easy for us to, in our mind, to say, well, I have to go to work. I got to do these things, and I have to have these things, and the kids need these things. And so we get this big list of things we're trying to accomplish while we're here. And if we're not careful, we don't set our mind on heavenly things. We don't set our mind on being loving and merciful. We don't set our mind on being the one who goes out and tells others about the goodness and mercy of God. We find ourselves maybe even being bitter because we don't have those things that we really set ourselves up to go get. See, when we start thinking about our lives and the amount of time we have here, it's finite. It's very small. When you start thinking about the enormity of life, I mean, really think about it. If you take the early date, you're looking, Earth's only been here 8,000 years. We live 100. That's not very long. That's no wonder James calls it our life a vapor. We're here for a short time, then we vanish away. We're not here for eternity. But yet, if we're not careful, we spend all of our time going out and trying to gain treasures on this earth, trying to be like the rich man who tore down barns to build bigger barns to store all of his goods because he said that he has many things that last him many years. And yet, the Lord said, who will have it when you're gone is going to require his soul from him. And when you start looking at that concept, we spend a lot of our time focusing on something that just not have eternal value. It doesn't have eternal value. When we start thinking about monies, I mean, look at the stock market. It's up, it's down, it's every which way. It changes. When we start thinking about the price of gold, it goes up and down. Now, these things tend to even out in the end. But why put our hopes and faith into something that's going to be up and down always? Why not put our hope, faith, and trust, our effort, and our energy into following after the one that can affect eternity? The one that doesn't only take care of us here in the now, but also when this life is over. And because we are finite, we don't live forever. And so as we think about our lives, I want us to think about this. Where is your treasure? Is your treasure something around you? Is it something that's in your house? Is it a place you like to go vacation? Is it an activity that you would like to give your lives to? Or is it something that's eternal? Is it something, as Paul mentions in Colossians chapter 3 and verse 1, do we seek those things above, those at the right hand of God? That is where Christ is. Do we seek those things? I would encourage us all to take a look at the things that we strive to gain, the things we put value on, the thing that motivates and drives us. And my prayer is that if our heart ain't seeking after godly things, that we'll turn toward Him.